1976, Concord, North Carolina. A small town where everyone knows everyone. And if you're black, everyone's watching you even closer. Ronnie Long is 20 years old. He's working, staying out of trouble. Got dreams like anyone else. Maybe save up some money, maybe start a family one day. Life isn't easy, but he's making it work. Then one morning, everything changes. Bang, bang, bang! The police are at his door. Before Ronnie can even process what's happening, they're inside, hands on him, pushing him against the wall. A white woman was attacked, assaulted in her home, and she pointed at a photo. That's him. That's the man who did it. Ronnie's heart drops. What? He wasn't anywhere near that house. He's got people who can confirm where he was. But when you're a young black man in North Carolina in 1976, your word doesn't mean much. They arrest him, handcuffs, patrol car, the whole neighborhood watching, his mother screaming from the doorway, "Not my son, not my boy!" But they take him anyway. At the station, Ronnie keeps saying the same thing. "I didn't do this. You got the wrong guy. Check my alibi. Talk to people, please." The cops? They're not interested. They've got their man. Case closed in their minds. The trial begins. Ronnie walks into that courtroom and immediately knows he's in trouble. He looks at the jury box. 12 people. 12 white faces. Not a single black person. Not one. His lawyer tries to get the jury changed, tries to argue this isn't fair. The judge denies it. "This is your jury, son. Deal with it." Ronnie sits there, 20 years old, looking at 12 strangers who've already made up their minds about him before he even opened his mouth. The prosecution lays it out. A woman was attacked. She identified him. That's all they need. The defense brings witnesses, people who saw Ronnie somewhere else that night. But the jury? They're not buying it. Here's where it gets insane. The police collected evidence from the crime scene. Fingerprints. Lots of them. 43 fingerprints to be exact. You know how many belonged to Ronnie Long? 0. Not a single one. His prints weren't anywhere in that house. Not on the door, not on the windows, not on anything. You'd think that would matter, right? You'd think the prosecution would have to explain that. But here's the thing. Nobody knew. The police buried that evidence. They had 43 fingerprints that proved Ronnie wasn't there, and they hid it, locked it away, never gave it to the defense, never told the jury, just made it disappear. The trial goes on. The woman testifies, points at Ronnie. That's him, she's sure. Ronnie's lawyer tries to poke holes in her story, tries to show inconsistencies. But when a white woman in the South points at a black man and says he attacked her, the trial's basically over. The jury deliberates. Doesn't take long. They come back. Guilty. Ronnie's legs almost give out. His mother screams. His father grabs the railing, face in his hands. The judge sentences him to life in prison. Life. At 20 years old, Ronnie Long is told he will die in prison for a crime he didn't commit. They take him away that day. No time to process. No time to say proper goodbyes. Just chains and a bus to Central Prison in Raleigh. Prison. If you've never been, you can't imagine it. It's not just the walls, it's the sound. Metal clanging, men yelling, guards barking orders. It's the smell, sweat and disinfectant and despair. It's the feeling that every single day is exactly the same. And for Ronnie, knowing he's innocent makes it 1,000 times worse. The first year is the hardest. He's angry. So angry he can barely think straight. He gets into fights. Other inmates test him. Guards don't care. You're a lifer, Long. You're never leaving. Get used to it. But Ronnie's mother won't let him give up. She writes him every single week, sometimes twice a week. Long letters. She tells him about home, about the neighborhood, about church, about how she's praying for him, how she knows he's innocent, how God knows the truth. Those letters keep him alive. His father visits when he can, sits across from him in the visiting room, doesn't say much, just looks at his son through that glass and shakes his head. "This ain't right, Ronnie. This ain't right." Years pass. 1 year becomes 5. 5 becomes 10. Ronnie's trying to survive. He works in the prison kitchen, keeps his head down, reads everything he can get his hands on. Law books, mainly. He starts learning. If nobody's going to save him, maybe he can save himself. He files appeals, gets denied, files again, denied. The courts don't want to hear it. You were convicted by a jury. Evidence was presented. Case closed. But what evidence? The evidence that proved he didn't do it was hidden. He doesn't even know about the fingerprints yet. The cops made sure of that. 1986, 10 years in. Ronnie's 30 now, a decade of his life gone. His mother's getting older. He can see it when she visits. Moving slower, more gray hair. She's tired. This is killing her. But she never stops believing in him. Never. Every letter ends the same way. I know you're innocent. God knows you're innocent. The truth will come out. Ronnie wants to believe her. Some days he does. Other days, he's not so sure. The 90s hit. Ronnie's been locked up for 15 years, 20 years. The world outside is changing. Technology, the internet, cell phones. Ronnie's watching it all through a tiny TV in the common room, knowing he's missing everything. His father dies. 1994, heart attack. Ronnie's in prison and can't even go to the funeral. They denied his request. Security risk, they said. So he sits in his cell that day, knowing his father is being buried and he can't be there. That breaks something in him. Not his spirit, but his hope. How much more can one man take? His mother keeps writing, but the letters are shorter now. Her handwriting's shaky. She's sick, Ronnie can tell. She doesn't say it directly, but he knows. 2003, his mother passes away. Cancer. Ronnie's been in prison for 27 years, and now both his parents are gone. The two people who believed in him more than anyone. Gone. He's sitting in his cell that night, and for the first time, he thinks about giving up. What's the point? Who's fighting for him now? But then he remembers what his mother said. The truth will come out. So he keeps going. 2005, a lawyer named Jamie Lau takes interest in his case. She's with a group that investigates wrongful convictions. She reads about Ronnie's case and something doesn't sit right. The evidence is too thin. The conviction is too clean. She starts digging, requests files, demands to see everything the police had. At first, they stonewall her. Sorry, that's all there is. She doesn't buy it. She keeps pushing. 2007, she finds something. Buried in old police records. Evidence logs that mention fingerprints. Lots of them. But they were never turned over to the defense. She brings this to court, demands the fingerprints be tested. The state fights her. Why? If Ronnie's guilty, the fingerprints would prove it, right? So why are they fighting so hard? The legal battle drags on. Years. More years. Ronnie's in his 50s now. He's been in prison longer than he was free. Most of his life has been behind bars. But Jamie doesn't give up. She's relentless. She gets other lawyers involved, innocence projects, law students. They all start looking at this case and realizing the same thing. This conviction was dirty from the start. 2015. A court finally orders the fingerprint evidence to be reviewed. 43 fingerprints from the crime scene. They run them through the system, check them against Ronnie's prints. Not a single match. Not one. Ronnie Long's fingerprints are nowhere on that evidence. He was never in that house. Jamie brings this back to court. This is proof. Proof he's innocent. The prosecution had evidence that exonerated him, and they buried it. That's not just wrong, that's criminal. But the state won't budge. They argue the fingerprints don't prove anything. Maybe he wore gloves. Maybe the prints belong to other people who were in the house at different times. They fight tooth and nail to keep Ronnie locked up. More years pass. The legal system moves like molasses. Appeals, denials, more appeals. Ronnie's sitting in prison watching his hair turn gray, wondering if he'll die before he's ever proven innocent. 2020. The world is shutting down. COVID. Prisons are especially dangerous. Ronnie's 64 years old now. He's been locked up for 44 years. 44 years for a crime he didn't commit. Then something shifts. The Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals looks at his case, really looks at it. They see the hidden fingerprints. They see the all-white jury. They see the lack of physical evidence. They see a conviction built on nothing but a scared woman's identification and a system that wanted a black man to pay for it. August 27, 2020. The judges make their ruling. Ronnie Long is innocent. His conviction is vacated. He is to be released immediately. Jamie calls him. "Ronnie, you're coming home." He can't speak. After 44 years, he's speechless. He's thought about this moment a million times, imagined it, dreamed about it, and now it's real. They process him out, give him clothes that don't fit right because the world has changed and he doesn't even know what people wear anymore. Hand him a small bag with his belongings from 44 years ago, things that belonged to a 20-year-old kid who doesn't exist anymore. Ronnie walks out of Central Prison. The sun hits his face. Real sun. Not through bars, not in a yard. Real freedom, son. Cameras are everywhere. News crews, reporters shouting questions. Jamie's there, other lawyers, supporters, people cheering. But Ronnie just stands there taking it in. 44 years, 16,000 days. He was 20 when he went in. He's 64 coming out. He missed everything. His parents' last years, weddings, funerals, birthdays, life. But he's free. The next few months are overwhelming. Learning to use a smartphone, seeing how the world has changed, processing the trauma of what was done to him. He's free, but he's not okay. How could he be? His lawyers aren't done fighting. Now they're going after compensation. The state took 44 years from an innocent man. They need to pay. The legal battle for compensation takes years, because of course it does. North Carolina fights it. They don't want to admit they were wrong, don't want to pay. But the evidence is overwhelming. The hidden fingerprints, the misconduct, the all-white jury. Everything points to a system that railroaded an innocent man. 2024, nearly 4 years after his release, the city of Concord reaches a settlement, $25 million. $25 million and a public apology. The city admits they got it wrong, admits the police hid evidence, admits Ronnie Long should never have spent a single day in prison, let alone 44 years. Ronnie stands at a press conference, older, grayer, but standing tall. He's got the settlement. He's got his freedom. But you know what he says? No amount of money gives me back my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, my 50s. No amount of money brings back my parents so I can hug them and tell them they were right. No amount of money erases what was done to me, but I'm still here. And the truth came out, just like my mother said it would. Ronnie Long lost 44 years to a system that didn't care about the truth, didn't care about justice, just cared about putting a black man away. But he survived, he fought, and in the end, he won. Not because the system worked, it didn't. The system failed him in every possible way. He won because he refused to give up, because people like Jamie believed him, because the truth is stronger than lies, even when those lies are told by people in power. $25 million can't buy back a life, but it's proof. Proof that what happened to Ronnie Long was wrong. Proof that he was innocent all along. And maybe, just maybe, it's a warning. To every cop who thinks about hiding evidence, to every prosecutor who cares more about winning than truth, to every system that values convictions over justice, Ronnie Long is free. And his story? It's proof that even when everything is stacked against you, even when the whole world says you're guilty, even when you lose decades of your life, the truth still matters. And sometimes, after way too long, justice finally shows up.